Hello everyone, welcome to another Talking Geeky Stuff with me, Tenshi. And today's topic is movie trilogies. Some of my favourite movie trilogies of all time. I'll be discussing those. Hope you enjoy the intro scene. So, what are the movie trilogies? Are they going to be usual suspects? Let's have a look. Some of you have seen some of my previous Asian cinema. You've noticed this is the same layout. So here the trilogies are good. Well, not good, they're fantastic. Some of my favourite ones. The funny thing was, where the Dark Knight trilogy was originally, this is the funny thing was, I was going to put the Indiana Jones trilogy there, because I think that's one of the best trilogies of all time. While I was getting the pictures and getting it put there, I was looking for pictures on the internet, and then out of the blue, I totally forgot about this. It had Kingdom of the Crystal Scroll. I went, oh my god, I forgot. There was a fourth movie. I mean, I remember watching that now, and then of course the memories come back. I realised, oh my god, that was such a crap movie. And that's how much I forgot about. So that kind of threw the spanners in the work, and I thought, okay, I need to replace that with the next one after. And of course it was Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. Don't get me wrong, it is still a fantastic trilogy. But of course, I actually enjoyed Indiana Jones a little bit more. But of course, it got ruined by the fourth movie, so which is funny because I totally forgot he had the fourth movie. Well, anyway, so that's why you see the Dark Knight trilogy there. So, as you can see, this is actually a list of my favourite trilogies in order. Back to Futures, my favourite. I love that so much. Star Wars, the funny thing was, if you asked me 2, 3, maybe 4 years ago, I would have put Lord of the Rings above Star Wars. But in the last year or so, I actually learned to appreciate Star Wars a lot more. I think it's because of the Disney Star Wars that has been so crap. And you can argue that should Star Wars be here, it's not really a trilogy no more. I would say yes, because it's like you can say they were the first movie. You had the sequel trilogy and the prequel, and then the prequel trilogy. They're all kind of separate. And besides, to be honest with you, I don't really consider this Disney Star Wars as canon. That is just me because they're that rubbish. So after watching the Disney stuff, especially Last Jedi and what was that? The last one called? That's how bad it was. It really, if you saw my video before when I discussed it, I realized how much it really pissed me off. The film, especially Last Jedi and the new one, the latest one, that's how bad I can't remember. Rise of Skywalker, that's it. They were so annoying, it actually pissed me off. The Force Awakens wasn't bad, just a fun film, it's like a retread. I thought, yeah. So I decided to watch, the older trilogies again, starting with the original one. And after watching it again, I realised, wow, they were good, but I appreciate them a lot more now. It's the same way I appreciate the prequel trilogies a lot more now compared to the crappy Disney ones, right? And then of course Lord of the Rings. I mean, Lord of the Rings and Star Wars is really almost neck and neck. I mean, Lord of the Rings is fantastic. I mean, I got both the theatrical version and the director's cut of that movie. I mean, the trilogy, fantastic movies. And of course, Dark Knight trilogy, best comic book trilogy, I think. I mean, Christopher Nolan's probably one of the best directors in the last 10, 15 years. I mean, even his worst movies are still good in my book. So one of the reasons why I like Back to the Future so much was, they're fun. Michael J. Fox is fantastic, adventurous. He had heart to it. Especially the sequel, right? It's Back to the Future 2 when I saw the special effects. I saw it in the cinema was it 89? Fantastic. And it's one of those films you can actually, once you watch the first one, you kind of have to watch the rest. I mean, Star Wars, the other trilogies, you can watch them, and you can maybe watch part 2 a week afterwards, part 3 the week afterwards. But with Back to the Future, it's really like, you got to watch at least one more after the first film. And they're fantastic. And it's also the only trilogy from the same director, the same staff, writing team, and all that. And producer team and actors that, how do you say it, was continuous. When you get some films like, say, for example, Spider-Man, Sam Raimi did first 2 movies great, third one flopped, things like that. It's always like the director kind of runs out of ideas, or the producing staff run out of ideas. But with Back to the Future, all of them was as good as each other. Fantastic. That's what I love about it. And it's also one of the first films when I was kids in the 80s. That was one of the first films I watched in cinema, in the movie theatre. And it was like, as a kid, it's like, wow, this is what you call real cinema. Watching a big screen, big sound, special effects, people laughing in cinema is a great feeling. So that's why I remember that, because I never watched the Star Wars in the cinema at that time. Of course, I watched them when they got re-released back in the mid-90s, and that was a fantastic experience. But with Back to the Future, I think something, because I watched it when I was a kid in the 80s, and it kind of stuck to me as a child to this day. And you can watch them today; it's still fantastic movies. Then, of course, speaking about more modern ones, of course, Dark Knight is the most modern trilogy I add to that. Like I said, it would have been the Indiana Jones trilogy. I totally forgot about the fourth one. So out of all 3 of them, right, Back to the Future is the only one that I would say I can't pick the favourite. They're all equally good. With Star Wars, my favourite one is A New Hope. Lord of the Rings, I do like Two Towers the most. And of course with Dark Knight, I like Dark Knight the most. That's why I will put Back to the Future as my number 1, because all of them were as equally as good as each other. Not to say the others not. These are still the top of my list of trilogies. So anyway, and of course, let me know what was your favourite trilogy and why. Is there a trilogy I'm missing? Anyway, there's a couple of honourable mentions that I want to mention. These are more Captain America, the trilogy, and John Wick. At the moment, it's still a trilogy. I know that I think the 4th one's in production. Of course, once that 4th one comes out, I'm hoping it doesn't do a Indiana Jones 4 and this totally ruins it. I love the John Wick. Keanu is one of my favourites, so I love that trilogy. And the Captain America's, it got better. The first Captain America was a good movie, solid. 2011, was it 2011? I can't remember. It was a solid movie. It did a lot of things safe. Introduced Captain America to the new audience. Then of course it got better. Like the Winter Soldier come out, you got a lot. Wow, when you watch the Winter Soldier, it's like, wow, it's a lot different than the first movie. Then of course Civil War. So with the Captain America, it's my favourite Marvel MCU trilogy so far, because it got better as it got along. So just like Captain America itself, is like it starts off with kind of reverse, where Civil is my favourite, Winter Soldier second, then Captain America. John Wick, I would say number 2 is my favourite, number 1 is the second, and number 3. I think number 3 had probably the best shootout. The only thing, in my opinion, that it could have been the best one, the only thing that I felt was a bit misbalanced was John Wick 3 has some amazing shootouts. The only thing that I didn't like is because some of the hand-to-hand combat felt a bit, I don't know, it just didn't have that hard-hitting combat. It was very wishy-washy. That's the only thing I let a little bit down of John Wick 3. If you had a better hand-to-hand combat, more hard-hitting, I think that would have been the best film. That's the only thing I let down. But John Wick 2 is my favourite, then 1, and then 3. Anyway, so these are some of my top trilogies and some honourable mentions as well. And of course, there's a lot of trilogies out there that 1 and 2 is fantastic, always the 3rd one that ruins it. For example, The Godfather. 1 and 2 were great movies, but the 3rd one let it down. Just an example. Anyway, enough of me waffling. Let me know what's your favourite trilogy and so on. And thank you. Please give this video a like if you like it. And please consider subscribing to see more of me talking geeky stuff. Anyway, I say thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. And please stay safe. Goodbye.